Welcome back to the Healthy with Heartland podcast. My name is Justin Freistadt. I am your host, joined with your favorite co-hosts and creative directors, Simon and Shannon. Good morning, family.
Morning.
Another healthy day with Heartland.
It is. It is a beautiful, gloomy day out there.
That's right.
If you're on vacation, good for you. Hope you're enjoying some sun. And if you're not enjoying some sun, make sure to take some vitamin D today.
There you go.
Got it. We're all deficient, especially here, like you said, in the Mid-Atlantic.
Yep.
How's that for an intro?
There it is.
Love it.
All right. So before we get into today's topic, let's get into the announcements.
All right. Just got a couple quick ones for you folks here. If you guys are members of the Heartland family, you can restock from home without the hassle. You can get some bacon this month. Everybody loves bacon, so 2 packs of bacon, your choice, absolutely free with your reorder. If you guys are watching and you're not members of the Heartland Foodies group, please head over there right now on Facebook. Go ahead and join us there. We're going to do a contest with a giveaway when we get to 5,000 members, so we're super excited about that. And also, you can join our top tier mastermind, which we have every Monday at 8 p.m. So the sign up is pinned to the top of there as well. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the podcast today.
Oh, you missed one.
Oh, okay. Well, please help me out.
It is Delivery Driver Appreciation.
Oh, yes. Well, every day is driver appreciation
That's
day.
right. And so what we're doing is if you do your reorder, make sure that you take a picture of your delivery driver or freezer artist, so to speak,
Yes.
and show off their creation, show off their artistic abilities.
Yes.
And thank them for what they do.
Definitely.
'Cause
Make
we're super
sure
appreciative.
you thank them and you post the picture on Facebook. Make sure you tag at Heartland Connect so that we can see it, and we'll enter you into that raffle. We're going to give away $500 at the end of the month. So definitely make sure to get your posts up so that we can see them. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about how to tag, did we see your post, just send us a quick message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll definitely be able to help you out with that.
Yep.
All right, and let's get into it.
So Justin, hard 75.
No.
75 hard.
You always do that.
It's a dyslexic thing. My apologies.
You know what? That's a common thing. People like
Hard
reverse it.
75.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So 75 hard.
Yes.
Let us know. Where we at?
Today's day 53?
Oh.
52 or 53. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't have my phone because it's filming me right now. I have to look at the app. But yeah, it's cruising, you know. I've added in some wearables for more data,
Nice.
and now I'm tracking my sleep, just really dialing everything in. So it's interesting how like you start something and then it turns into all these other things too. So yeah, I'm way further along and more advanced and adding more into the health and wellness game than ever before. So
What you got on the Whoop?
no, it's a Fitbit, the new the Charge 5.
Oh,
Maybe we'll have to talk. Maybe one day we should do an episode about all
I'm
those devices
pretty
that are
sure
out there.
it's-
There's so many good ones.
It's the topic for the mastermind.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Technology. So show up to that.
This Monday.
Exciting.
Yeah, if you're using a Whoop, an Apple Watch, a
Aura
Fitbit,
Ring.
an Aura, yeah. I mean, there's so many wearables, and we're going to talk about them all on Monday night.
Oh, I'm excited.
fun.
Plus DEXA scans, in-body scans, all kinds of
Super
great
sweet.
data.
All of it. If you don't know what that means, you should probably still show up to
Yeah.
the mastermind so you can find out what those things mean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll let you know.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
Yes,
that's awesome.
indeed.
Dialing it in. I feel like that's as you dive down the rabbit hole, that's what happens. Is you
Yeah.
start to figure out these new things, and then you start to figure out, man, there was this whole other world that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, we joke your eyes are like opened and you can't go back, right?
Yeah.
You just keep learning more and more. I think that's awesome though.
Yeah, there are certain things that will stay with us forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so my wife and my dog have not missed a single outdoor workout since we started.
Nice.
So they've joined me for that. It's turned into our 45 minutes of time together every morning or evening. We just go for a walk with the dog, and that's the 45 minutes outside.
That's awesome.
Just because, the 2 workouts a day thing,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean like 2 strenuous workouts. Like you'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, just doing 1 a day is tough. So
Right.
we've been making that second workout just an outdoor walk, and the dog's loving it, and that's kind of like our sacred time together now.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
So like one thing that you kind of went on was doing 75 hard, and then you kind of developed like another routine or like another like cool habit off of that.
Yeah, and we talked about even when 75 hard's over, we're never going to stop that.
Yeah.
It's going to be forever, 45 minutes we spend together outside walking
That's
the
awesome.
dog every day.
That's
stuff.
so great because you think about like the habits as couples that you have together, right? People go to the movies, they go on dates, they do those kind of things, but like creating something that's healthy for the both of you around that, I mean, there's nothing better than that. You know what I mean? Like to create that healthy lifestyle, that sort of thing that you're not going to go away from. Like you said, you're building on top of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We
We applaud.
Yeah, and that's like one thing that if you do have a situation like this that you cannot take for granted, because a lot of people don't have a supportive partner. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. You think about, eating a healthy diet, and then, maybe your partner's there, Doritos, donuts, all that kind of stuff. It's really hard. Like you said.
We talked about having that stuff in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes it that much harder.
Yep.
That's just one aspect, though. But I think just the general, support, and then the willingness to participate, I think
huge.
that means like so much more. And then the bonding that comes like along with, doing those things together, like working out and going on walks. And then, you get your dog involved too.
Exactly.
Why not?
And if you are going down, like if you're not in a lifestyle like this, the change is going to be hard enough, and your spouse or partner might not necessarily be on board.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't need them to be on board and do it with you. Right? That's a lot to ask of someone else. So the only thing that you can ask is, hey, I don't need you to do this, but at least support me through it.
Absolutely.
And definitely don't discourage me through it. And then your motivation should be, don't get mad at your spouse for not doing it with you, but how can I do this for me and hopefully be an inspiration to them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
Yep. Because it's bio individuality, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Everybody has their own way of doing certain things, of reacting to certain foods, reacting to exercises.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time too. Change is hard, and developing habits, breaking habits is even harder than developing new habits. So all those things, and mindset is huge. So people being in the right headspace, and I think we're talking about two people being on the same page, and I think that's what's even more important.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you say change is hard, but it's really like, when you think about it, evolution though, right? You're going to evolve either way. It's which way are you evolving? What are you evolving into? If you're doing the healthy things, and if you're not, which way are you going? So change is always hard, but if you think about it in terms of evolution, I think that kind of makes it a little, not easier, but it makes it more acceptable.
It is interesting. I'm in I've got a great support group of like 5 or 6 other people that are doing 75 hard. And there's one person that 75 hard ended the relationship they were in.
Really?
In a good way, right? Kind of identified, hey,
yeah,
not so congruent on the same things here.
Yep.
So it could strengthen, it could reveal something to you.
Right.
So when you make a change for the better for yourself, sometimes you identify something really negative that's really close to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find out a lot about like yourself, first off, and then about the people around you and your environment as well.
Yep.
So you can't hold yourself back if there's proximity that's not moving with you. That is the hardest thing, I think, is accepting and realizing what's holding you back and being able to move on from that, even if it's very close to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Being in those comfortable places, I think that's where a lot of people are. You're in a comfortable situation. You're in a comfortable place where it's like to step out of that, to do the uncomfortable thing, you're going to notice things about yourself. You might even notice things about the people around you. But it's all about that growth. And if you can actually identify that and create solutions from, the ways of looking at things, I think it's even, like that's probably the biggest part of life, is being able to grow through hard things, right?
Adversity.
At 100%. But it's more than adversity, because if you think about, like especially with a spouse, like with your partner,
right?
It's like if that relationship wasn't what you thought it was, or I don't want to get into, we're not a relationship podcast, but
we are today.
Yeah. Right? But it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like you have to be able, and you have to be willing to serve. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing, is serving your partner. And in what ways are you serving? Yeah. And you might be thinking that you're serving them, being comfortable and that kind of stuff, and your relationship is great. And then when you realize it, it's like it's through the growth, through the adversity is really where you realize all that. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I'm one for adversity. I love, like, you know what I mean? Like to that's like, people are like,
challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Yeah. Well, not even just the challenge, just the, I know if you're going through adverse times, if you're going through like adverse effects in whatever part of life, whatever stage you're in, that just is growth. That's growth happening. That's like you're working into something, like, and I'm probably the person, because I overthink things a lot. I put myself in certain situations, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's on purpose or it's subconscious, but I'll do that. I'll just put myself in an adverse situation just because it's like, I'm used to that. And I kind of like look for. Yeah, feed off of it, right? Because if you're comfortable, it's kind of like it gets boring.
Which is great. And for those of you who don't know, we're a couple. It's like that's really challenged me as a person because I'm the exact opposite. And like, honestly, like I can be a very passionate person. And when I do decide to do something, I do it 125%. Like there's no stopping me, but I also can be like very lazy and like very complacent. And that's one area that, I feel like we've grown together, but you've challenged me in as well. And hearing, you kind of talk about it that with, Elisa, it's like, I think it's really awesome that two people can kind of grow in that sense together. And I think the health and wellness aspect has brought us closer together. And I don't know if, that's kind of, you feel the same way, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm so proud of her progress. And it's also finding the balance and like, you're just not, two people are never the same person, right?
Yeah.
Like she's never going to get up. Like she's always getting up 2 hours after me. I'm wired like 10 times crazier than her.
Sounds really familiar.
And that's okay, right? Like, I don't need her to be me.
Right.
I need her to allow me to be me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? Like I can't like push her too far to where I am if that's not who she is.
I feel like that's that when you're talking about your adverse, like that's what I do. I would probably create an adverse situation because I'm like, we're too comfortable. Something needs to be happening right now.
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
And that's me.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I enjoy these conversations because it's the hard part of growth. That's what we're talking about, because it's when we have to decide on a certain diet, when we decide on a certain workout, it's a conversation. Mm-hmm. And she'll tell you, like, I'm the person, like, where's the research? Especially when we got into fasting.
We've talked about it, yes. Yeah. You're like, oh, you're hangry. And
I was like, what are we doing? This doesn't feel so good. Like, why am I doing this? But
luckily, I'm a very factual, scientific kind of
is that a word?
Data-driven. And I'm like, here's the proof.
Yeah.
The facts.
You brought it.
And then you go through the first stage, which is what?
Acceptance,
right? We always talk about it.
Yep. And being that person in adverse situations, you realize, like, you know what I mean? Like how you need growth. Because even if you like to, be in you like to grow, you like to be in those kind of situations, it's still like you have to humble yourself and realize, okay, at the same time, you like to struggle, you like to grind, but what are you grinding for? What's the why? Sometimes like I said, I can get into certain situations just be grinding for the wrong reason. Sometimes you have to be able to like put all that together and be like, okay, what's the why behind it? And some things you have to let go, and you got to be like, okay, that I didn't need. I thought I needed that. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I've identified something in myself lately about that. Like if there's something, I've developed a healthy procrastination problem,
right?
Where like I have something I really need to do, and I'm like, I'll go to the gym instead, because like I can say to myself, I'll go do something that's good in order to avoid something else that's good. That's actually the thing I need to do.
Yeah.
So once you get healthy habits, you can actually accidentally go at them too hard.
Yeah.
And it's actually the opposite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good point.
So I'm trying to get control of that right now.
Yep.
I'm more likely to do 3 workouts a day than tackle the hard task, and got to rewire and get back on that.
Yep. But every day, it's something to work towards.
But at least you're identifying it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the first step. Identify and accept.
Shen, how many first steps are there?
There's a lot, but I know that acceptance is definitely one of the top number ones. All right.
Put in the comments below. What is your first step?
What's your number one?
Right.
Here's my new first step, and this is like I'm writing this out because I think this is the best hack ever.
Yeah.
So what? Now what?
Oh.
That's good.
Say it again.
So what? Now what? And you can apply that to anything. Like we're talking about adversity and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't care what it is. Like it could be bad. Family member dies. I'm not saying you don't grieve, but at the end of the day, so what? Now what? Like if you can, in that moment, anytime something bad happens, so what? Now what? You end the feedback loop before it starts. Because you can feel sorry for yourself forever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, my favorite example is, and I'm trying to put this into perspective, when I see people like, oh, my flight got delayed or my flight got canceled, then you're like, oh, you go onto social media. You see this all the time. Now you're recruiting people to feel bad for you
Misery needs
and
company.
increase your feedback loop. And you could have just been like, so what, now what, on to the next thing.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So implement so what, now what. Every time something bad happens, that's how you stop the negative feedback loop from spreading.
I love it because it's solution based.
I love it even more because I think so what now it applies to bad things, but it even applies to good things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Growth. So what? Now what? So you did something good.
On to the next
So what?
thing.
Now what? Now what's the next thing you're going to do? Because that's also, I mean, that to be honest, that's us right now, right? Like we felt like we did some accomplishments in 2021, and then for the past couple weeks, we've been, we haven't exercised, we've been lazy, we have eaten out, drinking,
unhealthy.
you know what I mean? Like you can probably tell.
Yeah.
But
But we've fully accepted it.
yeah.
And like we're ready to move
Now
past
to
it
do the
and
so what, now what? You know what I mean? Okay, you fell off, you did that. So what, now what is the answer? Let's get back to it. And then even when you do those good things, to always stay in it so that you don't kind of fall off. So what, now what? I like it.
It's good.
Yep.
It's good
Heartland
stuff.
merch coming soon. So what, now what? For real.
Yeah.
Like that's
Get your t-shirt.
that's
Doing
nice.
it. I'm making a tea.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's awesome. But yeah, quick segue. So the other, from the 75 hard, that was right this time, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right. We found this article, and it was, I guess, written by civicscience.com. And the title, let's just start there. The title is, Has Inflation Taken a Toll on Healthy Eating?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys have probably read the article. I don't know if you guys read the article or not.
Yes.
But let's just start there. What do you guys think about the title? Like, do you think inflation, now that you've read through the article, has taken a toll on healthy eating? Is that what you guys are seeing?
I mean, I'll let Justin go, but I think that people may think that, but I still think there's always a way to make healthier choices, and I think that the inflation does, impact it in a way, but I don't know. I'll turn it over to you, Justin.
I think it's interesting how people respond to anything, right? Has inflation done this? Well, did the pandemic cause this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What did you do when that happened, right? Because you got two stories on both sides of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I meet with different families every day for Heartland. Some of them are like, inflation's crazy. We're staying at home, cooking a ton, and now we're saving a lot of money. Like going out to eat's more expensive than ever. Traveling's more expensive than ever. Have you looked at what it costs to go somewhere?
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Right? So if inflation is causing you to eat worse or whatever, if the pandemic caused, like everybody used to say, like in good times, they're like, we're so busy, we're on the run, we're going out to eat, that's why we don't eat healthy. And then the pandemic happens, you're forced to stay at home. And then it was like, I got lazy, I got out of shape because I was stuck at home. Like you will find a reason to do or don't for everything.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy, right? You would think the pandemic happens and the amount of people in each state that are over like the 35% obesity threshold doubled during the pandemic. That's CDC data. So staying at home, I mean, going out wasn't your problem. Staying at home, didn't help. So no, you just have a bunch of excuses.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes though when you say that to mental health, right? Because people stuck at home, if everyone's gaining weight now, it's a lot of it is probably like mental health, right? Like, cause me, it's the opposite. If I can go out, if I can go to, especially shout out to Frederick, they have a bunch of different restaurants and bars. They're all great, right? But if you can go out and we can go out and experience these things, that's where I feel like our unhealthiness comes from. Like if we're staying at home, we have a freezer full of food that we can cook. That's literally right there. You know what I mean? So if you're at I feel like more so if you're stuck at home, it's a mental gymnastics. You know what I mean? Because you're like bored. And there's probably a lot of people that were at work or were out and about that didn't necessarily know they were bored eaters and probably, and I'm speculating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it speaks to the mental health aspect in America and what it says to, that percentage doubling in that amount of time.
And how fragile people are to change. That's really what it is. Because think about it. It's like something happens. You're either so what, now what, or that's the reason I spiral out of control.
Right.
So when difficult things happen, stay at home order's difficult.
Yeah.
There's your whole routine in flux.
Yep.
Same thing. Oh, inflation's going crazy. Gas is doubling. I'm getting stressed out. Okay. So what, now what?
Ride a bike.
Right? Like, whatever. Like you're either mentally prepared for changes, problems, adversity, because it's going to happen anyways. So stop running from it.
Yep.
You can't avoid it.
Yeah. And we joke, it's like acceptance, but it's like, I mean, honestly, it's
Is
like
it the first step?
It's like the only step, right?
I really think it is.
It has to.
I really think it is.
We're joking, but we're not joking.
No.
Because it is, for real. Like, it's the first step. You have to, all of these things.
When you're saying,
In your
so
health?
what, now what, you're saying, okay, like, now what's the next step? Like, what's the plan of action? Like, what am I going to do, right? It's like a solution. It's not just like, oh, now I'm just admitting it. We're talking about it out loud. I may or may not do something about it. I'm just complaining. I just want to voice, what I'm saying, or you need company if you're not feeling too hot or whatever, It is, but it's like in action.
I think Justin's brought it up before. That's the whole point. It's like you can get the information, but what are you doing? What's the next step? Like, it has to be a reaction. It has to be some sort of reaction, not reaction, my apologies, some sort of action.
Correct.
Because, like you said, so what, now what? Okay, I can sit here and wallow in my pity, or I can make a decision and actually act on that decision.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
so to kind of transition over to the article and relate kind of
what
we're talking about. Basically, it says that early on in the pandemic, healthy eating habits actually increased by a few percentages. But then as we went into quarter like 3 and 4, it kind of dropped. And I think this graph is a little bit interesting to me because it says that 48% of people plan to eat healthier and 48% of people plan to eat exactly the same. So it's like, it's almost half and half. It's almost 50-50.
Right.
So the reasons for not eating healthier, are mixed, but the number one reason, can you guys guess the number one reason, number one most common reason that it's...
we're not going to guess because we have the stats right in front of us.
Okay, but what is it?
The number one? I think I already eat healthy. What is it?
No, you're looking at the wrong. You're looking at the wrong. You have it in front of you.
I got it right in front of me, and I got it wrong.
There's so many graphs.
2021. It's that it's been too expensive.
Really?
Too expensive. That was the number one most common reason in 2021. Is that it's too expensive.
Okay,
and now we're talking about inflation.
But Justin can break that down because it's not too expensive.
No, it's not.
Exactly.
We talk about it all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, rice is very cheap, guys. I mean, a big bag of rice is like it'll last just like 6 months, and break it down to a meal, you're paying pennies, right? And then you just got to put the healthy protein in there. I mean, if it's really an affordability thing, and then you downgrade the quality of those things,
what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah, well, it's like that's your worst case scenario. But I have never once seen someone who said that who didn't have excessive spending on things that were bad for them in their house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are we really talking about? You know what I mean? Because it's not the price of these things, because I get when people go in and they're like, okay, so the organic thing at Whole Foods is this and that. But then when you go back, like you said, to the cupboard or the pantry, there's extras.
Yeah.
There's all this other stuff. And if you didn't buy that stuff, you could pay for the extra organic if that was your thing. But either way, it's got to be wholesome foods.
So then priorities, that's all it is.
Yeah.
To that,
I can't afford to prioritize it is really what they're saying.
Yep.
Exactly. That's kind of, I'm talking about the graph that you were just speaking on, which says that like the number one percentage is that explains why people don't eat healthier is that they already think that they eat healthier. 37% of people already think that they're eating healthy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they don't have enough time or that it's too much work. And they're pretty much tied with the people who think that it's too expensive. So they're kind of right on the same plane. Some people say that they're too picky and they don't like healthy foods. That's 8% of people. That's why they won't make a change.
But here's the thing.
But wait, the last one is that they would have to cut back on things that they like, kind of what you're talking about. They'd have to make a change or a shift in a decision, and that's almost 15% of people. That's why they won't make the change.
It's funny how the words come out, because that's what they say. They don't know it. It's exactly true. They don't know it. But what they're really saying is, I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to this.
Yep.
No, you don't like it. You're addicted to it.
100%. And
that's why you ruin yourself.
Yeah.
Your gut, all that. And then
it's not funny, but I laugh just because it's comical and sad because it is lack of education.
Yep.
That's what it is.
The one that gets me is I don't like many healthy foods.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means your taste buds are wired for sugar addiction.
Yeah. And you can make healthy food taste good. But you don't need to do much to it. Heartland steak, salt and pepper.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's salt, pepper, it's a steak. I can tell you, there's so many things. And it's all about in the way. The people that I think that are saying that I don't like to eat many healthy foods probably aren't cooking. They're probably eating out, right? And when they go and they eat out, they're having, the Brussels sprouts with this. And they're like, I don't like to eat the greens, or I don't want to eat this or whatever. If you're cooking your food at home, it's necessary. It's going to be healthy unless you're adding all kinds of extra ingredients to it. If you're eating wholesome foods like we're talking about, like a good quality protein, quality vegetables, like what's unhealthy about that? Nothing. But what it doesn't taste good. And I can understand you don't want to eat certain vegetables and things like that. But there are vegetables probably that you like. If you don't like any, that's fine. Go carnivore or on one of these other diets. Just eat just meat. But it's not unhealthy to eat good quality meat, right?
I just had a crazy thought. So you know how like when you go and do something, like you go on a helicopter ride or you go bungee jumping or like you do something, there's like a whole safety video, or like you're going on a boat or like whatever, you're gonna drive a jet ski, you got to watch the safety video. What if when you went to the restaurant you had to watch the safety video of how the dish is made, and they have the macro counter up, and as they add in now the chef is putting in a pound of butter, and you can see like 3,000% of your daily allotted fat go up. And then you have to see like, and he's going to sprinkle sugar. And then like you see boom, boom. And like in that one meal, you had like 3 days worth of calories. And they say, are you ready to proceed with your meal?
Sign this here.
Yeah. And the crazy part, having worked in a restaurant, you said sprinkle sugar.
Oh, no.
It's not like if you could tell how much sugar is going in, like things that you're like, why would you put sugar in that? It doesn't even taste
the craziest thing is I still remember that the serving of 2 tablespoons of ranch had 20 grams of sugar.
Boom.
And then everyone was wondering why everyone loved the ranch so much.
Yes.
Well, we made it from scratch. It was made from scratch. Of course it's made from scratch. Every day. Yeah, with 20 pounds of sugar in it.
Yeah. And that was the thing. It's like if people really saw the ingredients, and this is a quote, you know what I mean? Like a farm to table restaurant. Right? Even there, but they're not saying they're not using sugar. They're not saying they're not using these ingredients. Maybe they're using sugar cane, but still there's a lot of those ingredients in those foods when you go out. I mean, we know like.
So that's why it's so important to prepare your food at home. You know exactly
what's going in it,
what you're putting in it.
You know how I kind of look at reviews at restaurants now? This reminds me of something. So at a lot of high-end restaurants, you'll see some of the reviews they didn't use enough seasoning. It was kind of bland. And I look at that and I go, well, that's my spot.
Yeah, they're not adding it all extra.
Like that's someone saying they didn't give me enough sugar to feed my addiction.
Yep.
It was bland.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We're having fun today.
It's true. It's true, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you should cook and eat at home. But then the next question they have here, what best describes how rising prices have impacted your recent purchases of brands of food/grocery items you buy normally? And if you look, 35% of consumers switched brands because of price.
Yeah. And I mean, this is from January 16th to January 21st, 2022. So this is pretty recent data.
Right.
And I could see that. I mean, like
yes and no, because I mean, like, did you research it doesn't say here, but did you research the other brand that you're going to?
No, probably
that you switched on price?
It's solely based on price.
But that's what I'm saying.
Clearly.
So it's like, oh, okay, so this one is a little bit and I use the gas, thing all the time. The scenario, essentially, like the analogy. Okay, so premium gas is X amount, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put regular unleaded fuel in my Corvette, in my nice car. You know what I mean? What's gonna happen to that car? It's not going to last as long. It's not going to be worth as much. It's going to fall apart.
It won't perform either.
Right.
And you bought something for performance. Like there's just no congruence in the thought process. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I know. It's like it doesn't make any sense. And then 10% of people switch brands for reasons other than price.
Yeah, so that's why, I kind of concluded that it's like mainly you're talking about in terms of inflation and how it's, been impacting.
Mm-hmm.
They're switching mainly because it's cheaper, not because they care about the quality or that they're the same. And that's people are worried about that.
Right. But the highest percentage on this graph is 36% says people didn't switch anything.
Yeah.
They
so the same amount of people who switch brands because of price, the same amount of people just continued on doing what they've been doing.
Yep.
So I think it's mixed.
At the same time, we really shouldn't diminish the impact of inflation right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's massive.
Yeah. No, it really is.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, the rising cost of commodities is pushing everything up. So it's more expensive to put the gas in your car, to go to the store.
Yep.
And then the grocery store has got to raise the cost because the cost of the transportation of the goods got passed on to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one big endless cycle, and it's just getting started, guys.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not going anywhere. That's what everyone keeps saying.
You hope that it does, but it's in the articles, it's in the people that are projecting these things. They're saying it's not. They're saying the cost of these things is going to stay at that. I mean, that's what happens in inflation, right? It goes up.
Get worse. Right.
So, I mean, the next question was, when you're trying to lose weight, which of the following is most important to you in your food planning? avoiding carbs, focusing on protein, a balanced diet, avoiding fat, lowering calories overall. Other, I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. Bio-individuality with this one, I feel like.
Yeah, but most people were interested in a balanced diet. But
yeah, which is huge, which is great. I mean, what, like, you think of the statistics on obesity and stuff. What is a balanced diet? Your wholesome foods, 2,000 calories, that kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of the point that I'm making. It's like, what is a balanced diet?
Yeah.
Just because you're saying you're eating a balanced diet does not necessarily mean that it's, healthy or good for you. You could be eating, I don't know, the wrong stuff. You could be eating the more macros than you should be. You know what I mean? So I think that
if you're tracking that, I mean, you may not, yeah.
Yeah.
You may not know. I don't know.
It's such a tough thing to unpack, right? It's different for everyone. I mean, I would start with just the source of it. Like, eat stuff not out of a box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, that's phase 1. Track it.
Yep.
Yeah, see, tracking it's huge.
Food diary.
Yeah, I mean, even if you ate bad quality foods, if you lived within your macros, you'd be an unhealthy person, but you'd be healthier than blowing out your macros. So,
yeah.
It's just interesting that it's kind of all over the board. Like, some people think that it's avoiding carbs. Some people think that it's avoiding fat. Some people think that it's just about, caloric intake. And I think it's like it's a combination of, all those things. And then bio-individuality as well. Like, each person's different. So things that work for one person may not work for another.
That's why I like elimination diets, though. Not to live on, but so that you can see, what your body reacts to.
To get back to like a homeostasis.
Yeah, like take things out. And then as you start to incorporate things back in, then you can see how you feel. And you say, oh, hey, like maybe the bread that I love, that I really think that I like that I'm eating, it could be, again, because I have a sugar addiction or whatnot, but I enjoy eating this kind of thing. And then that's the thing that's making you feel bloated. That's the thing that's, you know what I mean? Like messing with your gut and that kind of thing. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great way to find out, what things maybe work for you, what maybe things don't work for you. Because if you take pretty much everything out, or you dial it down to where it's just a few minimal amount of things that your body has to process, and then you, like you said, you slowly incorporate or try things, adding things back into your diet, and you actually start to realize how you feel, and like, judge things based on, how you're feeling and how your body feels. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point.
I'm blown away by how high up on this graph the avoiding carbs line is. I mean, it makes so much sense why people, generally speaking, quit, because you get a misconception like, oh, I need to lose weight, I need to avoid carbs. No, you don't. I mean, long story short, but that's probably, you just cut out carbs, right? Then you're miserable. You're losing muscle mass. Your body is starved for a very essential macronutrient, and you're like, this isn't for me, and you quit, and you're like, oh, I guess there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing too is that,
well, all of the diets work. Like if you cut any of them out, it just, like you said, though, as soon as you stop doing what you're doing, like you could go vegan and just eat plants, and you could lose weight and you could feel optimal. And then as soon as you're like, okay, I'm done with this, and go back to eating the other certain type of way, it's like, and that was a conversation we were having too. It's like, it's so crazy how like some people are really optimal on just eating meat, and some people are optimal on just eating plants. And it's like, but if you eat everything, right? Like if you eat everything at both. Yeah. I'm not just saying meat specials, but I'm saying
optimal, like feeling optimal and being at optimal. And then it's like, well, it's interesting because people, and I think we were specifically talking about like athletes, but like people have gone in both directions and both been like super successful, and like, you know what I mean? And gotten down to whatever body fat percentage, or felt like amazing, or performed really well. And it's just like interesting to see the contrast. Like, it's like, well, if it works, you know what I mean?
I laugh because we watch another podcast too, and Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson.
Oh my God.
It's Chad versus science. So, I mean,
he makes me angry. All he talks about is how like he eats McDonald's, and like he's like, no, like I swear, like food has nothing to do with performance. He's like, I'm like the best whatever wide receiver in the history of the NFL. He's like, I eat like McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and like they make jokes about it, but like all the like Brandon Marshall and the other athletes, they try to tell him, they're like, dude, but if you're already that great, like if you dialed in your diet, like how much even better could you like be? And
that's a fact.
He's like, it's not true. Like it's fake.
But it's also his genetics.
Like, you against science.
Could you imagine being such a genetic freak that you could convince yourself of that? Which, I mean, that's
what
crazy.
He did.
It's true, but that's the same thing with like these diets, right? If someone's like, keto really worked for me, and I'm like, well, yeah, let me profile your body type, your genetic, like it makes sense why we're like, I can tell you, I can look at someone and tell you what would work for them.
Yeah.
And it's not the same for everyone.
Right.
And then what I was going to mention is throw on top of that all the data and like research that's been put out there that's false about like, you know, in the past, like, oh, low carb is the thing, or like low fat was like, you know, the craziest diet. It's like all these things have come out like warring against these different like macronutrients.
Oh, when you
like,
really dive into it.
Yeah, it's hard to know, like, you know what I mean? Like, which one really is it? Because they say this is horrible for you, and this is horrible for you, and this is horrible for you. That's why I think it's like you gotta find out for yourself. You can't have anybody else tell you. You know what I mean? You gotta try it and feel it, and then really be able to listen to your body. That's the key. Because how do you even know that you're really like listening to your body? You know what I mean? I think that's the ultimate goal, is that you can, you know, understand and listen to your body and feel what it needs, and then go from there in terms of whatever it is.
And it's really, when you say listen to your body, mentally. It's really just how you feel.
Yeah.
Do I feel good? Do I feel lethargic? Do I feel
have energy?
Yeah.
You know, am I in a good like mood,
right?
My mindset, you know what I mean? Where is it at? Am I do I have brain fog? Am I like, you know, focused? Like all those things matter. That's all part of, you know what I mean, how you feel. And I think what you eat and your food contributes to all those aspects of life.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. It takes an obsessive commitment to figure it all out through trial and error in 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even with good research and data and coaches and everything, I mean, it'll take you 10 years to figure it all out.
Yeah. And then that 10 years, you find out that there's even more. You know what I mean? Like it's always, you're a student of health and this wellness. Learning. Like you're a student every single time. They're still doing research. They're doing research like I know you like to you know, you talk about it on the regenerative agriculture. Yeah. And that's something that, you know, isn't new, but is now, you know what I mean? Like it's taking the forefront of, you know, the new era, the new stages, like what we're going to have to do before we lose the soil, before we lose all this land, before we're not able to grow these kind of things. So it's crazy. And because we're in the, you know, living in the life, you know, at this time that we're in, where it's like, you know, back then they didn't have, you know, like the issues that we're having, and they had enough food to kind of, you know, go around, and they weren't planning in our lifetime that they weren't going to be able to kind of, you know what I mean, like grow food or have pastures or do any of that kind of stuff because of all the tilling and all that stuff. I'm listening.
Or they didn't know, they didn't care, whatever, all those things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to the most interesting podcast. Joe Rogan is all about like the climate change thing. Yeah. And all of these topics are so much more complicated than people realize. Yep. Right. And it's so somewhere in the middle on everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like what's really interesting, I just want to get this one thing out. So coal, if we stopped burning coal today, the dimming from the coal burning actually gets rid of half of the heat that we create through CO2.
Really?
So that would actually double the rate of global warming if we stopped burning coal. It's just so interesting, you know, how complicated these situations really are.
That's great.
And plant growth is at a record rate because of higher levels of CO2, which I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. The whole thing's tough.
It's really crazy.
One more thing on that.
Mm-hmm.
The ocean sea level has risen 400 feet over the past 20,000 years.
Wow.
So it's happening anyway. So like to say that sea level is rising by point whatever, like it's not a great data point on,
right?
You know, because it's happening anyways, whether we're here or not.
Right.
So I think the conversation really ends up with not about climate change, but do we believe in climate control? Like trying to influence it, change it, preserve it the way it is, because it's always been changing. It's always going to be changing.
Right. And I think at least not accelerating that time. Because if it is, you know, like that 20,000 years is a long time. So it's going to, you know, it's going to happen over time, and there's nothing we can do to kind of control that. But like you said, if we can at least not accelerate it and contribute to.
Well, it's even deeper than that. Let's say we weren't contributing to it, but it's still changing. Don't we want to preserve, like we don't want Miami underwater, right? So now are we having a conversation of even if we weren't contributing to it, do we want to slow it down? Do we want to stop it? Do we want to control it?
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And then you say control, but it's like Mother Nature.
But that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Because I just think of in Hawaii, the waves, like Mother Nature. You have no idea. It's Mother Nature. They could be, they're going to throw all kinds of different storms. All these kind of things are going to happen. And like you said, it's going to happen either way.
Yeah. But I mean, specifically talking about like in terms of food, if they were like, oh, well, if you whatever grew this or farmed your animals this way versus this way, we think, it could help in this X percentage. We hope that people would do that.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain things that are facts, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can see it in the NASA satellite imagery when you till land. The CO2 that was stored by the plants goes right in the atmosphere. And it's more than we burn in fossil fuels every year. So, it might be an important thing to prioritize, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you care. It's like, but again, it's like, where do we land on this?
Yeah.
Because, if you, it's like we're trying to get rid of coal, even though that's kind of helping cool the earth in a weird backwards way. No one thought about that, the dimming of the sun because of the silt or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
It's slowing down. It's 50%, like half. It negates half of the warming from CO2 and methane.
Interesting.
So if we got rid of
we
that,
didn't have that.
we would accelerate
Yeah.
the warmth of the planet.
Yeah, see.
I'm gonna drop a bomb for that.
I can't see that being a good thing.
That's the sound of my mind right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So-
crazy to think about. Yep.
Mind blown right now.
Yep.
Well, we went all over the place. I think we talked about a lot of good topics, and I think I have a couple of good ideas for some future podcasts. If anyone watching has, any ideas, topics that they'd like us to cover, definitely drop them in the comment section below, and we'd love to talk about them on the podcast.
Yep.
I don't know. You guys have anything else to kind of add?
No,
I feel like we got it all out there.
I feel great.
All right, awesome. Well, we're going to do it again next Thursday. We have Top Tier Mastermind coming up this Monday. I don't know, Justin, if you want to tell everyone kind of what the topic's going to be. And we'll put the link in the comment section as well if you guys would like to sign up for that.
Yep. There's also a group, Top Tier Mastermind. It's a private group. You can probably try to join it or just send me a DM and I'll invite you to the group. We're going to have different topics every week. We've had a lot of great topics already. If you want to watch the replays, there's a whole course, health and wellness course, body transformation, top tier health. Just go to toptierhuman.com. You can see everything there. Coming to the meetings is free every Monday night, 8 p.m., and joining the group is free as well. So lots of great information. We're going to have tons of guest speakers and all kinds of great stuff coming down the pipe. So you do not want to miss the Top Tier Mastermind.
Yes, definitely check that out.
Yep.
And with that, Justin, I think you can send us off.
All right. We'll be back next week, 9:30 a.m. Thursday. And as always, stay healthy with Heartland.